So tell us a bit about yourself. How would you? My question's always, as you've seen in some of my videos, is how did you first learn about solar energy, any way, shape, or form, and how did they get into solar cooking? And the middle question is, what are you doing now? Which, of course, is going to be your cooker. And the last one is, what do you see the future of solar cooking? What do you think people should do to promote it? What would you recommend people try? That sort of thing. So start off with, how did you first discover solar energy?
Um, I think it was in the mid 70s. I went up to a rally for anti-nuclear power up in Seabrook, New Hampshire, and
Mm,
the people up there, Clamshell Alliance, they had a whole display on. They had a solar cooker, they had a solar hot air heater. I mean, it was simple stuff, but that's how I first was introduced to it. And my grandfather, excuse me, had a built a little greenhouse above his window, so it was above his basement window. So that was another part of it.
sure.
And then years later, well, I built in '83. I built a hot air heater, and I
Oh,
heated my
nice.
apartment back then. And so I was always interested in solar energy since high school. And then my son had a science project, and I'm like, let's build a solar cooker. So we built a solar box cooker, and that was my first one. And he put it in the science fair, and he baked brownies, and so that was pretty cool. And then I was part of this group, People's Action for Clean Energy, PACE, and we did uh, fairs, energy fairs, and house tours. We toured solar houses, and uh, we always had a solar box cooker at our table. So I would go to like Earth fairs. I'd be the guy with the solar box cooker and one panel, one solar panel with
Sure.
a light and that kind of thing. And but the solar cooker really always brought people over.
Hmm.
People wanted to see that, so they'd come over and see. We'd be cooking millet or lentils or something, and they they liked that. They could lift the lid and see it cooking. So that was a good draw. And then we could give them global warming information and nuclear energy, about the waste and the dangers and stuff. So we did that for years. A friend of mine, in People's Action for Pace, we called it. Tom Atwater got one of those GoSuns, and it was pretty early. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I think no, not a GoSun, solar oven. What's its USA solar oven?
Oh, sun oven, the all-American
Uh,
sun oven.
All American Sun Oven. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
yeah. We had one of those, and then people really came over. They really liked that. So, and he had baked cookies on the winter solstice, so it was pretty cool. Uh, and then we did a little bit here and there, and People's Action for Clean Energy. There was no sense in having solar home tours because there were solar houses on every street. So there was no sense in doing that anymore, really. So I went to this yard sale, and I got one of those plastic uh, solar ovens, sport oven. It's got the
Oh,
plastic
sure. Solar
lid.
Oven Society. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I got one of those at a tag sale, and it was like brand new. The guy never used it. Had the pots in it and the reflector and everything. Uh, so I started cooking, and we were retired at that point, so I just started cooking and cooking, and I took my old box oven and I turned it into an angled one. So I'll show you that. And
Sure.
and then I had this reflector that I that I got from a buddy of mine, Carl Ginrich. He was a collector. He had collected a lot of stuff, and he had done a lot of stuff with me with biodiesel. He used to get the vegetable oil for me. He used to make biodiesel, and used to drive around in a old TDI Volkswagen. And funny story, I used to go out to New York State because Connecticut didn't have a solar industry at the time. It came on varied, so New York State had the rebates first. So I would drive out there on my vegetable oil powered TDI and sell solar, design systems and stuff for people. And so he helped me out, and he had this. He just had a knack of finding things. I don't know where he got them, but he had this reflector, parabolic reflector, and I bought it off him. I guess it was like $20 or $10 or something, and I had it in my yard forever. And I bought one of those evacuated tubes, ones about that big, and I
Sure.
set it in there, and I was using that, and it was just kind of had it on the ground, and then one day I dropped the tube, and it was shattered, and I'm like, oh man,
Oh,
that's
we've all
that,
been
that was a
there. We've
bummer.
all been there.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do something else with it someday. And I had some solar hot water panels in the side yard, and they were Lennox solar hot water panels built in 1974, and
Wow.
I used them until just last year. I mean, they were really they probably should have been in a museum because they were just really, really they lasted like 50 years, and I bought them used, and so
Sure.
I took those out, and I'm like, well, I'm going to make the little solar hot water thing with my parabolic trough, and I started working on it, and I was gonna make an air heater, and I kept playing with it, and finally it dawned on me, if I put a pipe in here, that would be the pivot point, and that was like my aha moment. That centerpiece where it reflects on stays solid, and the rest of it moves. So
Sure.
that was at that point I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good cooker. So I tried a copper pipe, and it worked for about a couple of weeks, and then it started getting soft in the heat, and it started bending with the weight of the pans on it. So I took that out, and I put a steel pipe in there, and I put a old storm window on there. So let me see if we got this close. And then I started cooking with that, and then the more I worked on it, I used an old refrigerator door for the ends. The stainless steel was hard to work with, but it was, I had it, so it worked out good for the ends. And ever since then, we've been cooking, whenever we can, almost every day, as long as the weather's good. And it's kind of
Sure.
nice because you don't have to bring your stove out, and set it up, and turn it or anything. At first I put it east-west axis and just tilted it this way. But then I found out that I put it north-south axis and tilted this way. It seemed to work better. I had a longer day of cooking. And if you look at those solar panel arrays that are at the solar farms,
Yes.
those long arrays, when they have a tracker, that's what they do. They just tilt it east and west. So it just made sense to me. I'm like, well, if they're doing it, that's what we did.
Sure.
Let's see
So
where we're at
the
here.
the metal work for the basically it's kind of like a half barrel, the parabolic trough. Are you doing any welding, or is that like just pop rivets or metal screws or what?
Yeah, that whole thing came complete. It had metal ribs and
Uh-huh.
the reflector. The rest
Okay.
of it, I insulated it and I covered it, and then I put the ends on for that were the refrigerator doors.
And those are
It
just
didn't come
those
insulated.
look to be screwed in place, right? Or pop rivets or what?
Yeah, I use some pop rivets. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. That's my favorite. That's when I learned about pop rivets, I said, okay, finally I can do some of my DIY stuff because it's not at all, I've actually got a welder so I could make certain designs I've got in mind. But I'm really scared of plugging that sucker in. I mean, I got an old house and an old garage and spark in the right place and but
sure,
pop
sure.
rivets, it gets the job done.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the exciting thing for me about this was, it just kind of like was serendipitous. I had this thing, and I'm working on it, and I'm like, but when I started looking at the design, I'm like, this could be fairly easily replicated, for third world countries or something, where if they want something that's really robust, and you can just sit out in the yard without not have to move it in and out. Something big, maybe for a village, you could make it 20 feet long, to
Oh,
have a
it's
bunch of windows.
eminently scalable. Scale it to any size. You just make a
Sure.
jig for the parabola, and bend the metal around it. I mean, I could see people bending the metal onto a plywood and just snap it onto plywood and insert another sheet of metal of the shape of the parabola in there, silicone or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
not a difficult thing.
you could make the ribs. I mean, with the even out of cardboard, maybe. Okay, so I'm on here. I can make it a little bigger though.
That looks good right there. That's good.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So how I track this thing, I have a chain goes to each corner and a bar, and I've got this piece of aluminum angle,
Hmm.
and I can see where the shadow is. Go around the other side here.
Oh, sure.
See that little angle. And then up here, I've got a chain. It's a brass chain with just little increments that I could just
Oh,
bring it
yeah.
up until I get it where I want it.
Hit the button by mistake. There we go. That's
As you
good.
can as you can see, that pipe is pretty lit up. Of
Oh,
course, the
yeah.
pots are lit up too, but the pipe gets pretty lit up. And if I move it, you can see it's right about there. I mean, I could do it that way too. So that's the whole idea behind it, is just to heat that pipe up, but also the pans heat up and the grate heats up too.
Yep.
Guess maybe I got to keep doing things here. And so right now we're at about 220, 225. I've got I've got water in there, and I've got 6 ears of corn. I have
Nice.
fit three pots in here. Um, it's it's nice because it's easy to open. You just slide this open, get your pans out.
The
You want to
camera.
slide this side.
That's a great shot. And it looks like you got another 6, 8 inches at least on either side, where if you had you could add a whole nother rack and have one or two more pots, right?
That's right. That's right. Yep. Yep. When I had it going the other direction,
Yep.
we'd get shade in the morning. You can see some shade from the south here, but I don't think that matters too much. Um, I would get shade in the morning and in the afternoon. Now I don't get any shade on the back side, but on the front side I do. In the middle of the pipe, I put see if we can see it. I put some copper tubing that I twisted up. It was 1/4 inch copper tubing to kind of fill the pipe up. Something else to
Sure.
get more hot.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and this thing, I mean, I don't have to change it very often. I come out here every half an hour or so, and it doesn't really affect the temperature too much. I'm sorry about this phone.
Yeah.
You get a lot of editing. Oh well. Yeah, so the stand is just some pieces of a wheelbarrow, and I put some wood up here and a piece of aluminum, and just to uh, just to have a base. This here is the ends are a piece of stainless steel refrigerator door that I cut. It's got the insulation in it still. I was thinking of taking that out, but I haven't got any smells from it. So,
Mhm.
and this thing is just a shame. So that's it. It's pretty exciting. It's a little bit different design, but it works great for us. We just leave this thing out here, and we want to cook something that's come out, it's all preheated.
Yeah.
Just open it up, throw something in, and it makes it so much easier.
And that's
This is my other. Let me see. I want to show you my other oven because I see a lot of people use these stands for
sure.
from old grills. But the
Yep.
way I use mine is I do it this way, and I got a wire rack here, and I can just bring it up, and that
Oh,
wire rack will keep it up.
oh,
So it's
sure.
like a little cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out great like that. And here's my first stove. Well, not my first one, but one of my old ones.
Yep.
And that thing, all I did is put another box in it to make the angle.
Oh, yeah.
I got to do
Good
some
old,
work on that, but I haven't been using it.
yeah.
We roast our corn in the husks, and it takes about 2 hours. That's a half
Sure.
dozen there. And while we're cooking, if I have room, I put a thing of water in there. Wash the dishes after.
Oh, sure. Double duty.
Yeah, since I got the room.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to show you about it. It's really pretty simple. That
You know,
that
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That,
that frame there, because this is a storm window,
yeah.
it's not leak proof. So I built this frame and put it over it when it rains.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's because I mean someday maybe I'll find a window that's leak proof, but the storm window just lets all the water in
Oh, yeah.
because it's not designed to be, it's designed to be vertical, not horizontal like this.
Yeah. For a second, I thought that frame for your cover there was a Fresnel lens
Oh,
frame.
I was thinking
Hmm.
of adding a reflector on each end because then it would just extend the parabolic. Because when the parabolic gets to the sides there, it almost comes out straight. So I could have a couple reflectors and they could act as a door too.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing that.
So now you're in Connecticut. Whereabouts in Connecticut? Is that a town or inside a
Yeah,
city
New
or
Hart. We're in New Hartford. It's in the northwest corner area. It's in
sure?
Litchfield County.
I think people need to see this because it's. I always encourage people to think in terms. Don't just think of one type of cooker. Like this is a box cooker, but it's also the parabolic trough. You get the best of both worlds. Or like the other possibility with this, and this is to put a bug in your if you're interested. There's a guy. One of my visits was with Steve Harrigan in Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he has what he calls a fire dragon. And what it is, it's just a 55-gallon drum cut in half, glass window like yours, only just one big thing, and it's all sealed up, and then reflectors that fold from I think I think all four directions, but at least the big ones on the long end. And what he did, and this was ingenious. I get there, I did not know about this. I usually do enough research to know who I'm going to be talking to, but we were kind of playing that trip by ear. And he said, "Well, you want to see the fire dragon?" I said, "Well, what's that?" Well, we walk over and it's that barrel thing, and he had welded to the one end a rocket stove, so that he could, and he set the flue at the bottom, just above the metal curve of the barrel that also was insulated around the inside, and out the other end with the chimney. And so if the rain came or the clouds came, he would just close the reflectors, which would give it a little extra insulation, heat retention, and then stoke it up with wood. And the bonus was the flue at the other end, the chimney. He put a little grill there to put a pot, and he could still even boil water on that or soup, because the temperature of the exhaust was, in the 300 400 range. So uh, just ingenious. And so I'm looking at yours and saying, that's a possibility too. You'd have a trifecta. You'd have a threefer.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. I
do you
mean,
do any welding, or it wouldn't have to be welding. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, there's rocket stoves that are also just pop rivets or
yeah, I built a rocket stove out of some stove pipe, and
oh yeah,
I could do that. I mean, what I see with this in the future, maybe it could be something that people have in their outdoor kitchen,
yes,
just there all the time with a cover over it, like a grill. Just open it up. If it's facing the right direction, put some food in there, and no fuss, no muss kind of thing.
yeah,
That makes me excited, and also the fact that it could be 20 feet long, and
yes.
you could have 5 windows, and you could do a village,
Well, the
and
sky's the limit,
it just I don't know
literally.
how efficient it is. I got to keep playing with it. See what.
I think we got enough here. This was great.
Oh, good. Hey, I appreciate it. That's exciting.
Yeah. Well, now when you say you were part of the Connecticut's like Solar Energy
Yeah,
Association.
so Connecticut Solar Energy Association. Yep,
Hmm.
I did that for I don't know 25 years. We would bring in speakers and have meetings and that kind of thing. Yeah.
If you have, and I don't know, any like a spec sheet, where was it? Were you saying you were going to work on that, or I'm thinking of someone else?
Yeah,
Um,
no, I'm gonna try to work on that because I think that would be good. If we
yeah,
could get the parabolic curve is the most important thing, and a lot
yep,
of these parabolics are shallow, and they have the receiver way up,
yeah,
So but this one's down low, so it's in the uh, in the parabolic. So I think it might be. I'll try to figure out what it is. Um,
sure,
I know there's sites online that where you can figure out what the parabolic is, where the focal point is, and the shape of the parabolic. You just put in a few numbers, and it'll tell you.
yeah.
So I'll try to get
Actually,
that.
all right. Well, unless you got any questions or thoughts for me, we can let you get
No,
back
I
and
guess that's it. Yeah. Well, I'll think of them after.
sure, sure, yeah.
But I'll send you a video, and we'll go from there. And hey, thanks a lot for your interest. It's been exciting. It's
Oh
been
yeah,
great meeting
oh,
you.
appreciate it. I want to share the best stories out there, and yours is rising to the top.
Oh, cool, cool.
All right. Well, we'll let you
All
go.
right. Thanks a lot. Have a
Yep.
good
Take
day.
care. You too. Bye.
Bye.